Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala nabiyyihi wa mustafah wa ba'd. My dear beloved viewers everywhere, welcome to another live edition of your program, Ask Huda. As usual, in the beginning, I'd like to begin by praising Allah the Almighty and sending the best peace and blessings upon His most beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then after, I have a concern I want to share with you. In many countries nowadays, since it is summer, the program time is kind of late. So like in the United Arab Emirates, I guess now it is already 10 p.m. and in KSA it is 9 p.m. and so on. Only in the UK it is actually 6 p.m. so it's a very convenient time. I wanted to take your survey if we were to bring the program an hour earlier, so it will be like 7 p.m. Cairo time, 8 p.m. Mecca time, and accordingly 9 p.m. I believe United Arab Emirates time. So please let me know if this time is okay, because this is a time that we keep throughout the year, or if it will be more convenient for you, because we don't want to keep people up late, and I know that most people are working and they got up in the morning really early. So if it will be more convenient, inshallah, based on your survey, we will decide whether to bring it an hour earlier or to keep it at the same time. Jazakumullah khairan. The first question we have is from Magazi. Magazi says, what is Islamic ruling on someone who is working in a bar as a waiter or a waitress, claiming that he or she has found no other alternative for a halal job? That means the person admits that it is not permissible to work in such job. And I would like also to emphasize that by supporting this ruling with the evidence from the Quran and from the Sunnah. As far as what the Prophet ﷺ said in this regard, he said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ إِذَا حَرَّمَ شَيْئًا حَرَّمَ ثَمَنَهُ. Not only working as a bartender or as a waiter or a waitress in a bar serving wine, beer and alcohol is forbidden. Any job in which you have to serve or do anything which is forbidden, then the job itself is forbidden and the earning is forbidden. Any item that Allah the Almighty has forbidden, then earning out of selling this item is forbidden. So Allah the Almighty says in ayah, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu innama al-khamru wal-maysir. Then wal-ansab wal-azlamu rijsum min amal al-shaitan. He said, fajtanibu. Our concern now is with the first and the second, because they're relating alcohol and gambling. There are a lot of people who work in even grocery stores and they sell lotto tickets. That's maysir. It is very obvious, guaranteed it is forbidden. And a person who gambles is accursed by Allah the Almighty, and gambling is cursed by Allah the Almighty. It is absolutely forbidden, and Allah the Almighty said you must stay away from it. Similarly for drinking, He said you must stay away from it. Then the Prophet ﷺ explained in the long hadith that لعن الله الخمر وشاربها وساقيها وعاصرها وبائعها وشاريها ومشتريها. You find that not only alcohol itself is cursed, but also whosoever deals with it, whether directly or indirectly, is accursed by Allah the Almighty. So I said, may Allah curse wine, and the seller, the buyer, the waiter, the person who transports it, the person who drinks, obviously, the person who squeezes the grapes in order to turn it into the manufacturer. So everyone who is dealing directly or indirectly with serving alcohol is cursed like the person who drinks it exactly, whether a little bit or a big amount. So that is forbidden, and selling it is forbidden, and serving it is forbidden, to the extent that when one of the companions in the early times, once Allah the Almighty forbade alcohol, he said, Ya Rasulullah, I only manufacture it as a remedy, as a medication. He said, ما جعل الله دواء أمتي فيما حرم عليها or حرم عليها, which means it is not a treatment. It is not a treatment, rather it is a disease. Allah the Almighty have never made the remedy or the treatment in anything which He has forbidden. So accordingly, working in this job, whether in a bar, in a nightclub, or in a gas station, in a convenience store where you sell alcohol or beer or any intoxicant, okay? Some states now they legalize marijuana, okay? In Islam it is forbidden. It is not permissible to sell it. Like exactly alcohol. If somebody presents a photo ID, he is 21. Okay? That means it is legal to sell him alcohol, sell him wine. In Islam it is not permissible. Oh, but he is not Muslim, so the rulings do not apply for him, but they apply upon you. If you are a Muslim, you are not allowed to tend, to deal, to sell, or to buy, or to serve anything which Allah the Almighty has forbidden. And accordingly, the earning is absolutely unlawful. When the person says that I didn't find any other job, I can but disagree. Because if you're looking for a specific income, for a specific category of business or job, then this is not an excuse. I mean, if I have to sell fruits in the flea market, or used clothes or shoes, if I have to work in a car wash, gas station, at the pump, you know, there are a lot, as a janitor, to learn to be an electrician or whatever, you will do it. And obviously, I'm not talking while I'm sitting in the air condition. I did work in many of these jobs by the grace of Allah, and I'm proud to say that. I did work in the jobs that you can never imagine, and I was very pleased with it, alhamdulillah, as long as it is halal. While I had an opening in many places where I can make many times the salary I'm making right now, but it's haram or it has any doubt. So when I share that with the viewers, or when a questioner is asking me, I'm not sitting in a palace, in an air-conditioned place, and saying, no, you're not allowed to work in this field and your earning is unlawful. Put your trust in Allah, make an effort. And when you make an effort, Allah will give you definitely much better than what you can imagine. This is a promise that He has taken upon Himself. In Surah Al-Talaq, He said, وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. Whosoever keeps his duty to Allah by abstaining from what Allah has forbidden, by fulfilling his obligations toward his Lord, then Allah the Almighty will most certainly give him a way out of every difficulty and hardship, and furthermore will provide for him from means which he could never imagine, he could not anticipate. وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. Then He said, and whosoever puts his trust in Allah, Allah indeed is sufficient for him. It's a matter of being certain that Allah the Almighty is the sole provider. Subhanallah, in Surah Al-Dhariyat, He said, وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ. Your provision is in the heaven, يعني it is controlled by Allah. It comes from above you. Your ordainment, how much you get, and how much food, how much drink, how much lifespan, and all of that it is controlled by him, then it must be sought only from him. Ibrahim alayhi salam said in Surah Al-Shu'ara, he said that Allah the Almighty is the one who does the following. He says, يُطْعِمُنِي وَيَسْقِينَ. He's the one who feeds me, and he's the one who gives me the drink. You may look at it as that the one who serves you the food or gives you the drink. It doesn't literally mean that. It means every bite of food that you eat, every sip of drink, it's a provision that is given to all the creatures by Allah the Almighty. He didn't create us and abandon us. No. He created us, then He guided us. وَالَّذِي خَلَقَنِي فَهُوَ يَهْدِينَ وَالَّذِي يُطْعِمُنِي وَيَسْقِينَ وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ فَهُوَ يَشْفِينَ. And whenever I get sick, He's the one who gives me shifa or cure, and so on. So it's a matter of really putting your trust in Allah the Almighty. A lot of youth take it easy, and once they find any offer, they pick it up. They say it's better than nothing. Say, I can't find anything better. He didn't even make an effort. So this is not an excuse. And then once they get the job and they get used to it and they spend a couple years in it, they say, I can't do any better. And they stuck with the haram, they live in haram, and they feed their families from haram. May Allah protect us against all of that. Al-Haji B is asking, if a man marries a woman unknowingly to him that the woman is pregnant for someone, and later he discovered that she is pregnant, what is the faith of that marriage? Basically, there is no marriage. It is absolutely forbidden to propose to a woman who is in her iddah. The iddah means the waiting period. Let's say that a woman is divorced. وَالْمُطَلَّقَاتُ يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوء. Let the divorced women wait for 3 periods before accepting any marriage proposals, before considering the divorce irrevocable and eternal. Otherwise, if the husband decided to revoke his divorce before either 3 periods, 3 menstruations, or 3 lunar months, if a woman doesn't experience the period for a reason or another, then she's on her own. The divorce is eternal, irrevocable, ba'in. And in this case, she can accept proposals. But it is not permissible for a person to propose to a woman while she is in the iddah, whether due to death or divorce. She's like married already. And when Allah the Almighty says 3 periods, and according to the more right view, the period here refers to, or al-qur' refers to the menstruation, that means if a woman is divorced and she experiences 1 period, then another menstruation, then a 3rd menstruation, that's kind of assurance that she is not pregnant. She is not pregnant. But in fact, some people rush and they take the decision. What if she's pregnant? You know, after she's divorced and all of a sudden the period is kind of late, so she ran a pregnancy test and she found herself pregnant. Then forget about the 3 quru', the 3 periods or the 3 lunar months. The iddah now has been changed to delivering the baby. It maybe lasts for 9 months, it doesn't matter, even if it lasts for longer, whether it is shorter or longer. Yani, if a woman was already pregnant and her husband divorced her while she's pregnant, and he knows that she's already 8 months, 9 months pregnant, for a reason or another he divorced her, but he divorced her before giving birth. A couple days later, a couple weeks later, she gave birth, then the iddah is over. أن يضعن حملهن. To give birth is the period. That is even less than 3 quru. Correct? That's right. وَأُولَاتُ الْأَحْمَالِ, those who are already pregnant, أَجَلُهُنَّ, their waiting period after divorce is to give birth. أَنْ يَضَعْنَ حَمْلَهُنْ. Fine. Which leaves no room for any person to say, well, I didn't know that I was pregnant. If you waited for 3 periods, you would have definitely found out that you're already pregnant. But let's assume that she didn't know. In this case, the marriage, as it did not happen, and this pregnancy belongs to the husband, and the husband, the ex-husband, and they're still already married, and the man who married her while she's pregnant, unknowingly, as you said, this marriage is nullified. There is no marriage. So you separate from her immediately. She doesn't belong to you. She is still married to the ex-husband. All of that because of the pregnancy. It is very beautiful to learn how Islam protects the family lineage. Now it is not about the ex-husband and the ex-wife. It's not about you and a woman whom you're married to, even on papers now. It's about the baby who belongs to al-firash. This baby is as a result of sexual relationship between the ex-husband and his wife. And he still maintains the marriage relationship between the parents, even though he said you are divorced. So the iddah will be prolonged until giving birth. So she will, the ex-husband now can take her back if he wants to. Okay? As long as it is before giving birth. I hope you understand that clearly. On the other hand, now we assume the good intention that you guys didn't know. On the other hand, Allah the Almighty said in the Quran, الزاني لا ينكح إلا زانية أو مشركة والزانية لا ينكحها إلا زان أو مشرك وحرم ذلك على المؤمنين. That is in the beginning of Surah An-Nur. What does it mean? Keep this ayah in mind. And let's also look into ayah number 5 of Surah Al-Ma'idah, when Allah the Almighty said, وَالْمُحْصَنَاتُ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنَاتِ وَالْمُحْصَنَاتُ مِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ. So Allah the Almighty allowed us to marry whom? To marry the chaste women, al-afifat, muhsanat, plural of muhsana, which means chaste. Al-muhsanatu min al-mu'minat. And that's why when I process a marriage contract in the United States or in the UK or in non-Muslim societies, and I know that this girl is not a Muslim girl, she says that she's Christian and she goes to the church, or she's Jewish and she's in love with this Muslim man and they want to get married. So I trust that the Muslim man is chaste, and I ask her, have you been with a man lately? As you know that in the West, people do not mind having intimate relationship out of wedlock, out of, marriage relationship. They can live together and they can separate, and as a result of that, she may conceive, she may get pregnant, and then they figure out later on. And perhaps as a result of having multiple sexual relationships, she may actually get pregnant and she doesn't know who's the father, and that's why they resort to the DNA, who is the father. Very confusing and very problematic. Even sometimes in the case of married people, because she's not sure after having multiple sexual relations, in a matter of a few weeks. So they resort to the DNA test. Allah the Almighty says, so I asked the woman if she's been with another man in the past 6 months, in the past 6 years. When she says, yes, I just broke up with my boyfriend. When? Last couple of weeks. Then I met this guy and it was on Valentine's Day and I fell in love with him. I tell him, my friend, it is not permissible to marry this girl. Oh no, Shaykh, Allah says you can marry Ahlul Kitab. Even if she's Muslim girl, you cannot marry her. In Islam, outside marriage relationship is adultery, is fornication. You don't tell me that she is your girlfriend, and you didn't tell me that he's my boyfriend. This is called adultery. Okay? So I'm not allowed to marry this girl because she's perceived as she's been in an adultery relationship, an illicit relationship, even if you both are in love. And your question may have happened as a result of that. You just meet somebody, you were having Starbucks together, and you liked each other, or you were doing some activities together. You met a girl and you liked her, and then you decided to get married. Don't rush, especially in societies where this is very common. You have to investigate, you have to find out, because if she is not muhsana, then it is not permissible to marry her. You gotta look for a mother for your children, and the same for the girl. وَالزَّانِيَةُ لَا يَنكِحُهَا إِلَّا زَانٍ أَوْ مُشْرِكٍ. That is the meaning of the ayah of Surah An-Nur. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bint Asif from Pakistan. Assalamu alaikum.
Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh. Can you listen to me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead, sister.
Okay. Sheikh, I've got one question. Basically, a man brought us food after he had been well after sickness. So he basically gathered a few children from the mosque, and they all recited the Quran. And then they made food and distributed it amongst various people around the place. So I want to ask if it is okay to consume this food, or should we give it to someone else? And what should we do about it? Basically, they call it Khatmul Quran in Pakistan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Jazakallah khair.
Wa jazakum. Thank you, Bint Asif. If somebody gets sick and he distributes food or he gives any charity in order to recover, this is actually a very good deed. And it is one of the means of enhancing the treatment and getting well quickly. Now, when you say that also after getting sick, then recovering, somebody wants to thank Allah Almighty by distributing food, this is very appreciated. May Allah bless you. As far as Khatmul Quran means reciting the whole Quran from cover to cover, beginning from Surah Al-Fatiha, then Al-Baqarah, and ended up with Surah An-Nas, chapter number 114. We consider Khatmul Quran if a person have recited the Quran on his own from beginning to end. But if we set 30 people and each one recites one para, that's not Khatmul Quran. That's not Khatmul Quran. Khatmul Quran is whenever a person recites the whole Quran from cover to cover. What about if we gather together and we have a halqa to learn Quran or recite Quran? No problem. One reciter and the rest are audience. But what people do, everybody is holding a copy of one para and everyone is reciting out loud and confusing each other. Sounds like a sheep market. It's not the Sunnah. And it is simply not from the Sunnah whatsoever. In addition to that, it's not considered Khatmul Quran. Yeah, I understand if somebody got sick, so he recovered, so he made Khatmul Quran on his own. Alhamdulillah, Jazakallahu khairan. Furthermore, he decided to distribute food. That's very much appreciated. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum. Kalfi from Kuwait. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I was calling with 3 questions.
Yeah?
So my first question is, my baby is crawling now, and is there a problem if she crawls in front of me when I'm praying? Okay, and my second question is a cappella music allowed, or if there's like no instruments, or is that only if it's classified as a nasheed? And my last question is, are we allowed to talk to Allah like we would a friend, or just like talking, or is it only if we're glorifying or asking for something specific?
Okay. Thank you, Sister Kalthi from Kuwait. Inshallah, I'll get to your question after we take a short break because it's actually due now. Bint Asif, as far as the food which is distributed upon recovering and so on, consume it and eat it. There is nothing wrong with that. Barakallah fika. I'm only concerned about this gathering where people make and they consider it Khatmul Quran. This is not Khatmul Quran. So my dear brothers and sisters, we'll take a short break and we'll be back in a few minutes. Please stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Let me remind you with our phone numbers: area code 002, then 0238555132. Alternatively, area code 002, then 010054693323. And Facebook address is msalah official. Kelsi from Kuwait has a couple questions before the break. The first is about the baby. MashaAllah, we started crawling, and obviously the baby does the same thing in the prayer. Well, during the prayer, which we are required to have khushu' in it, tranquility and serenity, as Allah the Almighty said, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. Those believers who will achieve success because of having serenity, tranquility in their prayer. So in order to achieve that, please keep your baby in the stroller or in the seat and fasten the seat. It's only a matter of 5 to 10 minutes. Same thing that whenever you have to cook, whenever you have to fix a cup of tea, whenever you have to use a shower or the washroom, you don't keep the baby on the loose. You fasten the baby in the seat or in the stroller so that you can focus on your prayer. You can give him or her a toy, and obviously there are a lot of strollers nowadays which have objects to distract the attention of the baby. They have vibrations to put them to sleep, or swingers, things of this nature. But you do not leave the baby on the loose to crawl in front of you. You gotta keep a sutra in front of you in order to have khushu' to the best of your ability. With regards to talking to Allah as if He is a friend, let's see what Allah the Almighty says in this regard. In Surah Al-Ra'd, chapter number 7, in Surah Al-Ra'd, Allah the Almighty says in the following ayah, "Ud'u rabbakum tadarru'an wa khufyatan, innahu la yuhibbul mu'tadin." Very interesting. "Ud'u rabbakum tadarru'an wa khufyatan." So talk to your Lord, invoke your Lord out of humility and secretly. He does not like those who exceed the limit. Then that's Surah Al-A'raf, chapter number 7, verse number 55. Then in the following verse as well, Allah the Almighty says, after He says, وَلَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ بَعْدَ إِصْلَاحِهَا, He says, وَادْعُوهُ خَوْفًا وَطَمَعًا إِنَّ رَحْمَةَ اللَّهِ قَرِيبٌ مِنَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ, which means, and call upon Him out of fearing and out of hope. Indeed, Allah's mercy is near from the good doers. No one better than Allah the Almighty can complain to Him about everything that you have in mind. Because of that, Ibrahim alayhi salam was called Khalilur Rahman. Allah the Almighty said, وَاتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ خَلِيلًا, that Allah the Almighty have taken Prophet Abraham as Khalil. The word Khalil in Arabic is an intimate friend, a very close friend. When Ibrahim alayhi salam, his people plotted against him and they decided to throw him in fire, and it took them like a whole month to pile a huge fire logs. Then once they started the fire and they threw him in fire, while he was falling, Allah the Almighty sent to him Angel Gabriel to ask him if he needs any help, any assistance. He declined. He says, from you, no. As from Allah, He's sufficient for me, and He's the best disposer of all my affairs. He said, Hasbi Allahu wa ni'mal wakil. So yes, the person must consider Allah the Almighty nearer to him than anything else. وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبِلِ الْوَرِيدِ. And he should be your best companion, in a sense that you do not complain to anyone better than him. I'm not going to say other than him, because sometimes you have to complain, like when you say to the doctor, I complain of this and this and that. But when it comes to the complaint of asking for help, for a solution, for a resolution, for assistance, then it must be from Allah the Almighty. The person experiences that, and it gives him a relief and comfort and assurance, especially in the prayer. That's why the Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, said, أقرب ما يكون العبد من ربه وهو ساجد. The word أقرب means the nearest. The nearest position the servant will be in to his Lord is while he is in a state of prostration. So take advantage of this position while you are so near to Allah, while you are in a state of sujood, and talk to Him, beg from Him, complain to Him, ask Him for help, ask Him for assistance. All of that is called dua, and that's why in Surah Al-A'raf He said, Ud'u, call upon Him. Ud'u. Then in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah the Almighty said, whenever my servant asks you concerning me, I am indeed near, very near, nearer than the jugular vein to any person. So let them فليؤمنوا بي فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلهم يرشدون. Let them, the word يستجيبوا here is very interesting. Let them respond to me. Respond in what sense? He wants you to call upon Him. A dua, or the sort of communication with Allah, talking to Him, asking from Him, begging Him for help, asking Him to give you a relief, any sort of assistance, that all of that is called dua. Dua is not only to say, oh Allah, forgive me my sins, but also to ask Allah for help, especially at the time of need. So yes, indeed, He should be the nearest to you, and you should refer all your complaints and all your calls for assistance and help to Allah the Almighty. As far as the humming instead of music, and which is in the nasheed, played in many nasheeds nowadays, and as long as it is not musical instruments, it is permissible, and Allah the Almighty knows best. Muhammad Hamiduddin says, I have a doubt, can we pray behind a grave worshipping imam? I find it difficult to imagine a person have reached the position of being an imam or leading the people, and he is a grave worshipper. It's such a grave thing to say that this person is a grave worshipper. An imam, a person who knows Quran, a person who recites the Quran, a person who at least have some knowledge of the deen. The basic knowledge of the deen, as we said that, subhanallah, we said, Ud'u Rabbakum, wa idha sa'alaka ibadi anni fa inni qareeb. All the dua should be directed to Allah the Almighty without any intermediary. So why would any person ask, especially from the dead, while they are in desperate need for the help of others, of those who are living? When the Prophet ﷺ buried one of his companions, the companions were fixing to leave. He said, hang on, wait here for some time. استغفروا لأخيكم فإنه الآن يسأل وسلوا الله له العافية. أو التثبيت, which means hang on for some time, do not leave, and keep yourselves busy seeking forgiveness for your brother, because now he is being questioned by the angels in the grave and ask Allah to grant him tathbit, which is a confirmation, to keep him firm, to be able to answer the questions of who's your Lord, who's your messenger, and what is your faith or what is your religion. So those who die, even the righteous people, are in need for the dua, for the invocation of the living, not the other way around. That is the same reason the Prophet ﷺ, in the early stage of Islam, banned all Muslims, men and women, from visiting the graveyard, because the pagans before Islam used to do that. Would go to the grave, assume that the dead people have an access to help them and talk to them, complain to them about their difficulties and ask them for help. So Islam came to demolish all of these Jahiliyyah traditions, and he taught us that none answers your supplication other than Allah the Almighty. أَمَّنْ يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ. Who else besides Allah answers the call of those who are in need and removes the evil, the calamities, and the distress? None but Allah the Almighty. If somebody still does so, then if he does that knowingly and out of faith that those that have an access to help, and that's why he goes to them and asks them for help, then obviously he's involved in a major shirk, associating partners to Allah in worship. Then his own prayer is invalid, let alone leading the prayer with other believers. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Abdul Rauf from the KSA. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh. It's nice to see you after a long gap. In fact, we missed your company during Ramadan and Eid time. I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept all your good deeds during Ramadan, inshallah.
Ameen, ameen. Thank you, brother.
I hope you and your family is doing good by the grace of Allah.
Alhamdulillah, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Same to you.
Sheikh, my question is, I just want to know about the ruling for the pregnant women who intend to make their missed fasts of Ramadan for the next year. Are they also supposed to give fidya till they make up their missed fast, or they can just complete their missed fast in the coming year?
Okay, barakallahu feekum. Thank you, brother Abdul Rauf. For pregnant women who had to break their fast because of pregnancy, or also breastfeeding women, as Allah the Almighty said, فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ, either because of sickness or traveling, and now she's in the category of sickness, then you gotta pay off by making up the missed days. Whether you can make them up during this year all the way until Sha'ban of the following year, you have 11 months. So you give birth, and you can also start your breastfeeding. And whenever you have a chance, if you feel good today, if it is winter and your need for water is less and the day is kind of shorter, you can enjoy making up the missed days of Ramadan during this Ramadan. If after giving birth a woman started breastfeeding and by no means she was able to fast, wait until the weaning, then you can make up the missed fasting. But the fidya is not prescribed here because you are in a healthy condition. Yes, because of the breastfeeding or the pregnancy, temporarily you're not able to fast. Then whenever you get done with the pregnancy and the breastfeeding, start making up the missed days, and you don't have to give any fidya because you would still have to make up the missed days. And there is no combination of both. Al-fidya, which is feeding one poor person per each day of skipping fasting, is only due upon the elders who are not expected to fast because they have reached senility and they will not be able to fast in the future, or people with permanent ailment or sickness, which in this condition they will not be able to fast in the future whatsoever. Then immediately once Ramadan is over, you give fidya, or you can give fidya day by day. after the dawn or the fajr of each day, which means that you're not fasting today. You can give fidya day by day. Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anh used to simply gather 30 poor people and he would feed them all at once, and that would be for the whole month of Ramadan, because he reached senility and he wasn't able to fast at that time. Cindy is asking about, in order to fast the 6 white days of Shawwal after Ramadan, do I have to complete making up the fast which I missed during Ramadan because of the menses first, or I can fast? We did speak about this point for so long, and in brief I say once again, my dear sisters, if you can afford to make up the missed days first, then fast the 6 days of Shawwal. That is the best scenario. If you have many missed days and you're not able to do both, then begin by fasting the 6 days of Shawwal. And Aisha radiyallahu anha used to postpone making up the missed days of Ramadan because of the menses until Sha'ban of the following year, as long as you make them up before the following Ramadan. Thuraya says, when two non-Muslim parents decide to raise their now 1-year-old child as a Muslim, is the child required to say the Shahada, or do we follow the saying of Rasulullah that every child is born as Muslim and then the Shahada is not needed? Well, I kind of find it kind of strange that why would non-Muslim parents decide for their 1-year-old baby to become a Muslim. I can perceive this case if the child is like 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, and sometimes because of we used to have like charter schools in the States, and non-Muslims may attend in our schools. A lot of families, a lot of respected American families, non-Muslims, chose to send their children in our schools. Why? Because of the safe environment, because of the modesty, because of a lot of reasons. So alhamdulillah, shukrillah, with a very good reputation and also good level of education. So there was a girl in her 6th grade. In the 5th grade, she decided she wants to wear a scarf. So her mom supported her and she put on the scarf, but she was not Muslim. Then later on, she asked her mom that she wanted to become Muslim like her colleagues. Her family supported her. Then a year later, the whole family have become Muslims. So, but that was like 10, 11 years old. You can imagine that the child have a choice, and he's asking his parents, I'd like to be like my friends. But 1 year old, I don't understand why would non-Muslim parents, they would rather become Muslims themselves. In addition to, when the person grows up and he becomes aware of what is religion, faith, and he have the right to make the decision, you will have to pray. And in every prayer you say the Shahada so many times. So the Shahada is not something that you say it once and that's it. You say it so many times in the prayer while making wudu and throughout the day. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. My dear brothers and sisters, we by that have come to the end of today's edition of your program Ask Huda. Until the next episode, I leave you all in the care of Allah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.